Sirens shatter the peace of Christchurch. Emergency vehicles and armed police responding to a terrorist attack on 2 of the city's mosques.
It is clear that this is one of New Zealand's darkest days.
51 people were killed and many more injured after a terrorist opened fire inside 2 Christchurch mosques as worshippers met for Friday prayers.
This highly coordinated, carefully prepared massacre timed to kill and injure as many people as possible.
But out of the dark, out of the horror, hope has emerged.
March 15 was a pivotal moment.
A lot of people's lives change, and I am one of them.
The view towards Muslims was a certain way. I don't want there to be continuous anger.
We thought about how to respond to this hate in a humanitarian way, and then we thought of Project 51.
On The Detail today, Project 51.
Saba and I decided that we're going to go to Afghanistan, establish 51 micro businesses in honor of our 51 martyrs. We just felt like we had to help.
Kia ora, I'm Amanda Gillies, and today I'm chatting to Barez Shah and Saba Afriziabi, the team behind Project 51, an inspiring feature documentary that follows their journey as they travel from New Zealand to Afghanistan to honour the 51 lives lost on March 15. They raised $20,000 to establish 51 micro-businesses in Kabul, aiming to empower some of the city's most impoverished residents.
In Afghanistan, there's this fear their tomorrow is not certain. So we wanted to make their work easier.
We wanted to establish something that would be ongoing, that would have ripple effects. It all started from the tragedy of March 15 and the horrors that befell our community in Christchurch. And because we were there and we were involved in the burials and the process of the healing of the community as well, we were at a point where, like, we have to do something, you know? You cannot have an event like that just pass you by and you not think about it deeply and be moved in some way and take some kind of action. So Saba and I'll never forget, we're sitting in a dark room and we're talking to ourselves like, what are we going to do, you know? Like, something like this falls on us. What are we going to do? And we decided that we're going to use the negative energy and use it as fuel for positive change. And we've been going with that mantra ever since. And things have, you know, fallen into place so beautifully. And we said, how best to create and honor and establish 51 micro businesses, you know, uplift 51 lives. And we said, we're going to do that, and we're going to make a documentary, and we're going to come back and show New Zealand, and we're going to bring that energy from Afghanistan that we will see firsthand. We're going to bring it back and show it to the people. And man, we did it. Like, what? That's crazy. We did it.
I've watched it and you've done it. It is heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time. So I want to go back then to March 15 for the two of you.
Horror in Christchurch this afternoon after shootings at 2 mosques in the city. Those are Masjid Al-Noor Mosque on Deans Avenue, that is right opposite Hagley Park, and at another mosque in Linwood. There are reports of multiple injuries and fatalities, with witnesses reporting seeing a man enter the mosque opposite Hagley Park dressed in a military jacket, and he just started shooting, they say.
And I know it's a tough subject, but where were you that day, and what was your initial reaction when word started filtering through about what had happened?
When March 15 happened, it was a year that I came to New Zealand. I'm from Afghanistan originally, and I was born and raised as a refugee because of the war in Afghanistan. I came to New Zealand, and I was never in my brain coming like the thoughts of war or, you know, any threat of war in New Zealand. Like I just learned that even the police can't carry gun with them when they are driving around the city. So on that day, on March 15, Barez and I were at Musalla, which is a small prayer area in the University of Canterbury. I was just about to start my prayer. Then we heard that there is a shooting happening in Masjid Al-Noor. We were shocked. We were like, what's going on? We were like, no, maybe it's fake. Somebody is just pranking, Then we realized, no, it's serious.
She wanted to help, but Berez told her to stay inside and hide.
Because you're wearing hijab and, we don't know how many threat is around the city. So you visibly look like Muslim. So it's better that you stay inside for the security reasons. And that's what I did. I went to the library and waited. And while Berez was outside.
Had either of you in your time in New Zealand experienced any hate or racism or any issue with you being a Muslim up until that point?
I'm really at a point now where I feel like if we continuously, dwell on a topic like this, like, how were you treated when you were growing up? And I feel like it just causes further division in our society. I truly believe that. And I feel like us as a society, we need to look at, okay, how can we come up with solutions rather than, how is your feelings, Everybody experiences some form of racism from time to time. I experienced it, other people experience it. And that's racism at a lower level where it's the everyday commonness. They're just sometimes joking, sometimes a little bit serious, and you need to put them in place. But it's not to the point where we can dwell on it. There's the types of racism that's high level, causing genocide, killing people in front of you. That's the kind of racism we need to be talking about. Not here, common day, how is your feelings? I can get over my feelings. And so can Saba. She can work on her feelings, she can strengthen herself, and she won't be faced. And that's where we're at right now. We're not here to dwell on how other people are going to make us feel. We're strengthening ourselves. We're caring about what's happening at high level. That's the kind of conversations we want to have.
One question on feelings, though, before we get on to Project 51.
Sure.
The outpouring of love from New Zealanders after March 15, what was that like for you guys? Like, how did that, after such a horrific event, to feel that and see that?
That's what you need, right? After an event like that, that's exactly what you need. It felt like family coming together. It felt like a blanket, being covered by a blanket. And that was beautiful to see, I was a little bit surprised. I won't lie. I was a little bit surprised, but I loved it. I was like, man, this is the kind of energy we need in New Zealand.
I saw from different communities in New Zealand showing support, like, for example, Maoris, even gangs. They were there to give protection, the Pakeha, the Sikh community, and people were there and they were feeling really horrible that this has happened to us. And that was beautiful. Coming to your racist question, there is happening few, but we are not focusing on that, because we see this side of beauty. And there is, of course, systematic racism, but we hope with time that also get better, and people get awareness that this is the reality. There are different color of people live in a country. So let's not talk about something that doesn't work for us, because this is your reality. This country is, for different races.
Yeah.
The more better we accept this, the more better for this country.
Many of those who will have been directly affected by this shooting may be migrants to New Zealand. They may even be refugees here. They have chosen to make New Zealand their home, and it is their home. They are us.
We are broken-hearted, but we are not broken.
We did research about the terrorist march attacks. This person lived a horrible life, and this person haven't seen love in his life seem like that. His childhood was very terrible. His upbringing was terrible. So he wanted a solution, something to blame. And for him, that blame become Muslim community. And he wanted to, see them as an enemy so he can feel better. It's something that mostly those people attack, those people that they don't have
support systems. They're alone, they're sad, they don't have a vision for the future.
Yeah.
that's the kind of people that turn out to be racist. So what does it tell us about society, you know? If we have racist people in our society, maybe we're failing as a society. We should be more aware of who our neighbor is, have better interaction with our neighbor's children even, you know, have a better interaction with them. So we understand who's around us, but we're not like that at the moment, right? Like, you barely have a conversation with your neighbor. Time goes by, like, it's really sad.
Yeah, nobody knows anyone. It's easier for them to target, you know.
But what I like is you guys are doing good.
People could be in the most difficult situations where life's just not going for them, but they just pull through. That spirit that we have within us is fuel for positive change.
And you raised money. How did you raise money for your business to do this for Project 51?
We created an Excel sheet. We sat in the library of University of Canterbury, created an Excel sheet, started with multiple organizations like the YMCA, Tararanga Foundation, and then we cold called them basically and said, look, we've got this crazy idea. We didn't tell them we didn't have any idea what we're doing though. We're like, we've got this crazy idea. We know what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We created a proposal and I give it a little page and people were on board. Like, people recognize authentic energy and a passion for something. And when you sit there and tell someone like, look, look, we're going to do this, okay? They pull through, they come and support you, you know? That's something we learned throughout our, like, we don't have to have experience in something. You just have to have energy and passion and like true belief you're going to do it.
True belief and show like we are actually going to do this. We promise you we're going to do this. And that was beautiful. You know, the amount of support we received, it's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So how much money did you raise and what were you able to do with that money?
$20,000 was the funding that we had set for the micro businesses. That's what we raised. And it came to about $392 per micro business, give or take, depending on what type of micro business it was. And man, it was crazy because like seeing the micro businesses from the beginning, like going out, visiting people in their house, surveying them. And again, that was a difficult decision to make because we're coming from a privileged place economically and we're sitting there like, okay, does this person deserve to get a micro business or not? But we had certain criteria which made it easier for us to make those hard decisions.
What's that criteria?
Like, were they a breadwinner for their family? Did they have like a skill that they could use? Because we didn't want to just give money. And when they met those criteria, we accepted them as a donor. Beautiful experience for us because we thought we're going, you know, we're well off and we're going here and we're going to help these people. And we went there and we learned manners, we learned character, we learned resilience.
Not giving up.
Yeah, not giving up. Like, people were in difficult situations, but they weren't complaining. All they were saying was, thank God. And we're like, what? We're looking at each other during interviews like, what is going on? You know, so we came back more empowered. I hate the word empowered, but we came back more empowered than we thought we empowered them.
We feel amazing. You know, we feel really good that this energy was, when you do actually good, you know. Genuinely. If you do something good, you actually helping yourself.
So with that money, what sort of things could they buy? What sort of businesses were they setting up and, you know, being able to provide for their families and communities?
The most feasible option was a thing called the Karachi, which is like a cart on wheels. And they could load anything on that. So like an entrepreneur can sell socks, they can sell jackets, scarves, fruit, vegetables, whatever their skill was or what they thought worked for them. Like, for example, one young guy we had by the name of Wafa, who was just a high school graduate, really smart guy. He wanted to sell like mobile accessories because he's, you know, the younger generation. He's like, I got this. So we went and supported him with that, and he came up with the entire plan himself, from the building of the Karachi to sourcing the accessories.
It was very creative ideas.
Yeah,
like a 70-year-old woman, she knew how to sew fabrics. So she was like, I want to make reusable bags. There's a lot of need for this in the market. And I'm going to, you know, give it to all the bakeries, you know, so people can use it. So there was a lot of creative ideas were coming in the journey.
And how will that change their lives? Like, in your words, seeing it, how does it change their lives over there?
Man, I don't want to give up the film, but I actually went back to Afghanistan in 2023 to check on some of the businesses, and people can see this in the film. And man, some of the businesses, the transformation they had from what they initially started with and then where I saw them, it was so moving, you know? Like, man, just even one of those businesses that I saw, I was like, man, even if we just did this, like, this is life-changing, you know? Was so pleased that we were able to create something that changed the trajectory of a family, you know, where they're just day-to-day surviving, and now they can actually invest in their future, long-term planning for their children, you know.
Not depending on something, and just they are doing it. Yeah.
On top of this, you are filming it all for a documentary. What was the sort of best part and the toughest part of that?
I love filmmaking and videography, photography, so I was really enjoying this procedure, capturing beautiful moments. But the hardest part personally for me was traffic. There was a lot of traffic. About 8 million people live in one city, and when you go out, so there's a lot of traffic. When you want to go from one place to other, it reaches you sometimes hours to reach there.
That was the filming process. And what about the editing process?
Yeah.
Well, the editing process for me personally, and I love our team, and I mean that. But you know, we had a team who had a very different upbringing to Sabah and I, potentially saw the world through a different lens, and we're sitting together in an editing room. We're trying to convince each other of each other's, you know, way of thinking. And because Sabah and I were not as experienced, we're like, no, guys, like, this is how we have to do it. So the editing room for me was the most challenging, to be honest. But I think we pulled through in the end. We had a lot of difficult conversations as well in the editing room. But I think we did well.
How do you think New Zealand and also Afghanistan audiences, how do you think they'll resonate with this film?
I think they'll love it, honestly. I think they'll love it. We are personally proud of it. We obviously, looking in hindsight, you can always change things. You know, we watched the film and parts of it were like cringe, but then people who we know, we trust, watched it. They really loved it. So for us, I think it's going to be different. But the New Zealand public, I think they'll love it.
They will love it because this is not just a film. This is something is more than a film. I think especially the New Zealand people, they will really feel it because their community experienced this and they would definitely feel this movie. And I hope that when people watch this movie, they, you know, kind of understand the message behind. It's not just a movie for entertainment or to just feel good and leave the cinema. It's more than that. And we definitely hope that people will feel that.
6 years on from March 15, where does New Zealand sit as a country, do you think, when it comes to acceptance, welcoming, we are one type mentality?
Look, there was a study done in 2023 by FIANZ and a few other organizations, and they found that some Muslims still experience racism. And the study's out there. And again, like, I don't want to dwell on that. I don't want to talk about that study. Yes, it exists. Yes, we need to work on ourselves, you know. Yes, there's work to do, for sure. There's always work to do. But to me, personally, I say to those who are experiencing any form of discrimination or racism or any sort of harm, they should focus a lot of their energy, majority of their energy, in strengthening themselves, you know. They should really focus on that, because when you do that, you're not going to be affected so much. I truly believe that. That's the outlook I have right now. That's why I keep saying I don't want to dwell on how others think of me. Like, I could care less. I could really care less.
That's funny because recently I've experienced something similar like that. because I'm visibly looks like Muslim.
Yeah,
and
sorry, guys. I'm just, sorry. My experience and Saba's experience is slightly different.
Yeah.
So I totally apologize.
So I just wanted to explain this because it's very interesting. Recently, I took my two sons to a playground, and there was a man on his, I think, 80s, and he was sitting there on a bench, and he was looking at me, and then he came nearby and he started conversation at that common question, like, where are you from? And so he was kind of arguing, like, basically, like, why migrants come, Then I asked this person that, how did you come in New Zealand? And he said, I was born here. It's like, how about your father? He said, my father was born here. I said, how about your grandfather?
Turns out the grandfather was not born here. He migrated to New Zealand.
You did migrate. Your ancestors did migrate. And
same reasons.
So, same reasons. We are humans, and it's okay. I came here legally. If I came here illegally, I agree with you. There shouldn't be any tolerance for illegal, people migrate to other countries. There should be a legal way. I have done my police check, even health check, everything. Applied for my application, applied for the fee. Then I came to New Zealand, very legally. Why I'm not allowed, and why your grandfather was allowed to come to New Zealand. I'm a human, he's human. We are all allowed to, live in different parts of the world because this world belongs to humans. And our different races will transform from other, even we like it or not like it, this is going to happen. We will transfer from one place to other. And even having arguments about this is, I think, useless. So this person then, at the end, he was silent. And I think he just maybe a moment of realization or observation or something. I think the main thing is they are afraid that they are Muslims and they practice different in this country because our ideology is different. Our traditions are different. I was like, name one specific tradition that I do that will cause harm to your society. I'm not drinking alcohol, yes. Is it harming you? Is it causing you any issues? Or is it making any problem to your society? Because I'm not drinking alcohol. And I think alcohol is the main cause of accidents in New Zealand. So you should be happy I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm a good citizen in here. So why again, let's just argue. Let's just talk about this, that what is the main concern that really concerns you, that me being here, that me destroying your society or me destroying your country. What's the main concern? It's all coming from the ignorance. It's all coming from the place that people are not...
They're insecure.
They don't understand. They don't know me, maybe. They just...
it's the unknown.
Unknown.
The fear.
This is the fear. This is the scary part, that people are in dark and they don't know what they're talking about and they just talk. So I feel bad. I genuinely feel bad for these people. It's not like affecting me. I now have conversations whenever I feel something like that. We end up very interesting conversation back and forth. So it's not affecting me, but definitely on systematic, part. And I hope in future generations that's also, going to be changed, because people will understand there's no way. This is stupid, because this is our reality, and let's just accept it and move forward with this reality. Yeah.
The doco's world premiere is April 3rd, and now Berez and Saba are working on another film on life after prison.
So the topic that we're going to be exploring is how a person, when they go to prison and they come out, they can never have their record cleared. And we're going to explore how the lives of people are impacted because of this law. And for me personally, and I'll talk about my journey as well of coming out of prison, the things that I had to deal with.
Can you tell us your crime and how long you were away for?
I was inside so my initial sentence was 3 years, 2 months. It was for aggravated robbery and perverting the course of justice. And people can find more about the severity of it when they read the book.
And of course, see the next film, but that's another podcast for another day. For now, That's all for the week. The Detail is a Newsroom production supported by RNZ and New Zealand On Air. Thank you to Barish Shah and Saba Afraziabi. This episode was produced by Gwen McClure and Davina Zimmer and engineered by Mark Chesterman. I'm Amanda Gillies. Matua.